when you come across a situation that does not feel good, pause and choose to pivot. Pause and choose to pivot. People don't pause. They just grab the thing that happened and then they get what's called momentum going.
Yeah.
And then whichever direction you're focused is where the momentum is going to go. So you could have just spiraled and melted down and fallen apart and you pivot. You paused, you pivot.
This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, a podcast about Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals. Mostly.
That's right. From the Christian Brothers of Spring Hill, Christian Brothers Automotive of Spring Hill Studios, powered by Muletown Bikes. This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, where we have real conversations with Middle Tennessee business owners, entrepreneurs, professionals. And today's no different. For the new year, especially as this episode is probably going to be out in early to mid-January. Good one to listen to, especially if you're going in, we're all charged up. 2025 is behind us. Some of us think that's a good thing, a really, really good thing. I'm one of them. And 2026, every time, a new year rolls around, along with it comes the notion of hope and renewed energy and ambition. And all of a sudden you find yourself, wanting to get healthier, not only in your mind and body, but in your day-to-day, getting more organized. And today's guest can help us do that. Dilyse Diaz, thanks for being on with us today, a fellow B&I-er.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. Seriously, thank you.
It's about time we've had you.
I know. I know.
We've known each other about a year now.
Isn't that amazing? Time
crazy.
flies. It's crazy.
We did some video work for you once upon a time.
Yep, a mini masterclass.
Yeah. And that's what really kind of piqued my interest, because I was part of the editing team. I
know you lit up. You were like, wait,
I was like,
have some questions.
A lot of that stuff to me is very intriguing, especially as a business owner. You get into these things and you realize that, what Gary Vee has said, and I'm a huge proponent of Gary Vee.
I love him.
Introduced to his persona and social media in 2015. But the one thing he's been parroting over the years, over the past decade that I've been following him, this is hard. And it feels lonely. And it is lonely as F and all the things that he says. In that time, I think we had a very rockin' and rollin' economy. And it was very easy to kind of get caught in the trappings of, man, this is a lot easier than I imagined. But since 2021, 2022, economically, we've gotten
changed.
It's become not a little bit from a peacetime economy, maybe to a wartime economy. Things feel a lot tighter. We certainly experienced that in our business, but it forces you to pivot, But I think if you're a business owner and you're feeling the stress, the pain, you're second guessing yourself, and you're not really feeling right in the head. This is a good episode, because this is a big part of what you do.
That's right. As a licensed psychotherapist, that is everything I focus on, and it's really about how to shift your focus to be thinking about what you do want in your life.
Right.
So a lot of what you described, I know we've had conversations before where you mentioned 2025 was a tough year.
Yeah.
Part of what I teach people is how to discipline their mind. Well, really mindset, but to discipline their thoughts, because their thoughts create their reality. And that sometimes is lost on people, that they don't understand how powerful their thoughts are. And
you can manifest a lot of things.
Manifest simply means to create.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, I'm going to manifest this and I'm going to manifest this. Well, guess what? You're manifesting 100% of the time. What that means is you're focusing on something and it's becoming a physical creation. So if you say, what can go wrong? What can go, oh, I can't believe this. This is going wrong. And what else could happen? Be ready for it, because something else will happen. That's the way it works.
Before we get into the heavy stuff.
Yes.
We got to, before we believe the message, we got to believe the messenger, as my friend Monty Moore would say. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you came up and got licensed and everything. What sparked your interest into what you're doing now? What's your backstory?
Oh, gosh. Okay. In a nutshell, backstory is, I'm going to start here that I believe that I am on this earth doing what I'm doing as my divine design, so to speak.
Your superpower.
My superpower. I had an upbringing that prepared me for being really good at what I do. I have a lot of experience in some very tough and emotional things, and a therapist back in the day when I was 14, 15 pretty much saved my life. And I thought, gosh, if he could help me see the light when I was not able to see it, I want to do this for at least one other person in the world. And that was really when it began for me to decide what I wanted to do, what I wanted to go into. And then, of course, years and years of school. It is not, and we talk about business. It is not what people think it is when you first go in. So I have 2 bachelor's degrees, a master's degree. I have a license in marriage and family therapy. And I've been doing this in private practice for about 28 years now.
Oh, wow.
So I have spent, I think, my whole entire life learning, growing, expanding, and evolving to what I do now. So here I am in Tennessee. I have a private practice out here. I also have one in California. I'm dually licensed, and I'm a mindset mentor to people all over the world. So I believe in what I teach. I live what I teach, which is hope and love and support and encouragement and empowerment. And my life is living proof of what tough things people could be going through and how to focus your mind to create the life that you actually want. So I think that's a nutshell version. I've been through a lot of things that have led me to being really good at what I do now.
What was a pivot moment for you that made you go, okay, now I know what I want to do?
Well, that was really when I was 14 and 15. I was so much in a deep, dark hole, and I wanted to be happy, but I had no idea how. And so my parents took me to a therapist who was absolutely insane and horrible. And I wanted to literally die when I left there. So they didn't give up. They said, will you try somebody else? And I said, sure, as a tough, 15-year-old who was very hardened by life. But I did want to see how things could be different. So I tried somebody else, and he was this amazing human, a wonderful, loving soul who, like I said, helped me see light when I felt like I was in a deep, dark well of living. And believe me, on the outside, we grew up with money. We grew up with horses. We grew up in a way that people looked in at my life and they thought, oh, she's got it. She's got a perfect life. But behind closed doors, it was really a tough, chaotic, crazy household.
And that was all your upbringing was in California?
Yes, I'm born and raised there.
You came up in the fun era, I would imagine. 80s, 90s, right? Mm-hmm. Because my family, once upon a time, entertained the notion of moving to California from Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
I want to say probably early to mid 80s. Mm-hmm. And my life would have been entirely different if that happened. Mm-hmm. So were you born out there and raised?
Yes, born and raised.
And you recently moved here?
Yes.
You're one of those.
I know.
That's good, though. It's good to have everybody coming in. When did you actually move here? What year?
21 is when I first came out here, and officially moved out in 22.
Right.
And built a home out here, met my husband, all that good stuff. That's why I'm here.
You met your husband out here too?
I did, in the middle of Unionville, Tennessee, if you can believe that. This is why I say, we create our reality. I know we're going to get there in this, but we create what we want by what we focus on. And so that was part of all of what I'm doing now is literally from the life that I created in California, in my mind, before I created it completely to the T out here.
So did the life exist out there that you were on the way to create, or did you already create it out there as well?
No, I created aspects of what I wanted out there in my business. I have had a successful private practice for, like I said, in private practice out there in California for, I think, obviously now 28 years, but before I moved out here, it was about 22 or something like that.
Right.
22 years. Yeah.
Married before out there?
Yes, a few times actually.
Gotcha.
All before I was 30.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what I love teaching people is, I was saying on the way out here to this podcast, it's like, I was looking for love in all the wrong places. And that is
just the wrong place, California.
I am Vinny Tavares. I'm the owner of Milltown Bikes, right in the heart of Columbia, Tennessee, on the square. And we're here to serve the community. We have bicycles from kids to adults, e-bikes, mountain bikes, road bikes. We run a repair shop. So I am the third generation of this current bike shop. It's been here since the 70s. It's a historical building. It's an integral part of the downtown community in Columbia. We got customers here coming in and talking that they got their very first bike here. So the reception has been great. Everybody's been super friendly, super welcoming. A lot of the old customers that been coming here for generations now still come here. They're now my customers, and I have a huge responsibility to continue to carry that legacy and that passion forward.
Hi, I'm Jason Miller. I'm the owner of Christian Brothers Automotive here in Spring Hill, Tennessee. We fix cars here, both European and domestic, from simple oil changes to complete engine rebuilds and replacements. Most important thing, though, is while you're waiting, we've got the best snack game in town, and we invite you to make yourself at home and get to know us, and we treat you like family. We're located right across the street from Walmart on Highway 31 right here in Spring Hill. Let us know that you heard about us on this ad, and we'll give you 10% off your next oil change. So stop on in and see us in downtown Spring Hill. Do we even have a downtown in Spring Hill?
So you end up moving out here.
Mm-hmm.
What drew you here? Was there, did you feel like you were a displaced Southerner in a way?
No, I had no intentions of moving here. So my kids, I have 4 kids, and I became an empty nester, and I sold my house. I sold everything that I own except for my dogs. And I decided I was going to take off and go explore whatever, whenever, do whatever I wanted to do. And so I moved to the beach for a little while in Ventura, California. And I was not really crazy about that. And then I thought I'm going to buy a van and go for a year traveling. And then my lifelong girlfriend, Lori, who we've been friends since we were 8 years old, said, I'm coming to California, because she moved out here about 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'm coming to California. Let's do dinner. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And I said, hey, maybe I'll go back with you. And she's like, really? I said, yeah. So I bought a plane ticket, came out. And then she happened to mention, hey, a friend of mine's selling his beautiful green piece of property. And part of what I always journaled since 2012 was that I'm going to buy and live in my beautiful green piece of property. And so I said, hey, can we go visit? And she's like, why? You'd want to move here? And I said, I don't know. I just feel it in my spirit. I got to go check it out. So I checked it out. And what I wanted to do is build a wellness retreat center, which is what we have now. But I went down to visit this person who's her friend who was selling this property. And I said, let's check out what we could do. And he says, I'm open to doing it too. And I said, well, what, business or running it or what? And he said, whatever. So we kind of just hit it off. And then one thing led to another. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but one thing led to another where we both realized we really liked each other. And he said, why don't you come out and really check it out? So I did, and we kind of been together ever since. And now I have 100 acres out here with him, and we developed a little wellness retreat together. And yeah, it's really amazing.
When the house you sold in California, when did you buy and sell it? What years?
I sold it at the top of the craziness.
So in the COVID and all that stuff.
Yeah, a little before that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I don't even remember what year it was. That's so bad.
What year did you buy it though?
2007.
Okay, yeah.
And then so that was
kind of like on the way up to the bubble.
Yes. Well, yeah, yes.
Because we were in Vegas from 01 to 05, and we got out just in time.
Yeah.
But we were in the house here that we're still in.
Yeah.
We bought that in 05. So
yeah.
I just like to put timelines on things and what was happening in the world.
Right. Right. No, I remember it was.
I was hoping that you bought your house in the 80s. Cha-ching.
Oh my gosh. Tell me about it. Well, I mean, it was the house that we lived in, myself and my kids, because I was a single mom for all of their lives, really. And I raised them financially on my own. So, we talk about business and all of that good stuff about how hard it is, especially in California. I raised 4 kids and myself financially on my own income and what I do. And we've always had everything that we've wanted and been okay. So,
well, it's funny because you look at the time that you did raise them, early millennium, I guess. California wasn't cheap then. I mean, it never really was. I guess in the 70s and 80s it was, which is what attracted a lot of people out there. But it got really expensive really fast. High cost of living. So I mean, credit to you, single mom doing what you do, and
4 kids.
Kids.
They had everything. They had cars. They got to do what they wanted to do. Go on trips.
Good for you.
I mean, neat stuff. Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful and blessed, and feel really, really good about it. So yeah, I mean, back when we sold it, I sold it at a high, and took off and just kind of adventured and did whatever felt amazing and good and right. And then landed in Unionville. It's just wild.
And it's crazy because, a lot of people dream of doing that, like retirement. Hey, that's doing whatever I want, waking up whenever I want. But after a while, it gets old, I would think.
Here's the thing. This is really my message, and I would love to teach everybody this. Figure out what you want. Really get clear on what you want, what it looks like, what it sounds like, smells like, feels like, and live it in a virtual reality first. Really get into what it would imagine what it would be like. A wholehearted virtual reality in your mind. Why are you laughing?
Because I did that with my mom.
How so?
My mom and I didn't have the best relationship in the last 15, 20 years.
Okay.
And for probably about 3, 4, or 5 years, we didn't talk. And everybody who was involved in her life and would report back to me, maybe 2 people in particular would say, well, you really got to think about how you're going to feel when you get the call one day that she may be gone. And I would tell them, I say, I've put myself in that headspace many a time, like role playing, method acting, if you will. And every single time it's like me getting the call, what is my emotional, visceral reaction? And every single time it was, all right. Every single time. And she passed this early in 2025. Our relationship was repaired by then, but it wasn't the same, she was my mother by blood kind of thing. I love her. But the emotional bond had disintegrated. And I just knew it, even working on it, doing the best we can. We were living far away from each other. And towards the end of her life, I got the call, and it wasn't any different.
Right. You rehearsed it.
I guess. But I mean, it was really not that I was willing it into existence. It was one of those things that, how would I really feel?
Right.
And I was being honest with myself. So I get it. I understand that concept big time.
Yeah. A lot of people focus on what they don't want and what's going wrong, and then you'll see evidence of that.
More things going wrong.
It is the law. People think it's a little woo-woo to think law of attraction or law of the universe, but it actually is, scientifically how our brains are programmed and how our brains are structured. So what we think about becomes habit, and it becomes what we create in our reality. And so if you really want to change your life or change your business or improve anything, then you've got to really take some time and connect with what feels amazing and good and solid in your heart. Put it out on paper and figure out how do you incorporate those things into your everyday life. I do this thing with people I work with. This year it's 26. So I'll say, do your 26 in 2026. So 26 things that you want to be or do or have or feel or experience. They are not resolutions. People think, resolutions or goals. No, sit down and really figure out, what do you desire? What lights you up? What brings you joy? What would you love to be able to say when you look back at 2026 and go, oh, I loved this year? What would that include?
Yeah.
And when you do that, you actually put the map in place, and you truly could, I wouldn't recommend it, but you truly could just set it aside and forget about it. But because you have already put the desires out there, then that's what begins to happen. That's what begins, resources will start coming to you in the way that you want. People will show up that will help you accomplish that. That's how it works. And I challenge you.
26 things is a lot of things.
And it could be small, medium, large. It doesn't matter. And they don't have to be completed. It's just that, like, for instance, 2012, I wrote, I'm living on my beautiful green piece of property, and I created it in 2012. And then it happened in 2021, right? Now there's a lot of things that get in our way of creating what we want. And that is the disbelief that it's not possible or the limits that we put on ourselves. So in my work with people and what they come in for, because they come in for all kinds of different things, but it's about helping them get out of their own way and seeing, like, well, what obstacles are you putting in your own path? Because it's only about you. It's not about other people. A lot of times they think, well, he's the reason why I'm upset, or she's the reason why I'm so unhappy, or this happened in my childhood. And it's not about that. It is about what you can do in your life today to make it better. And there's literally 100 different paths for you to get there. And that's what I love helping people do, is get there.
Well, a lot of people doing that are, they're echoing the sentiment from Rocky Balboa when he has the scene with his son. And he says, you're blaming, you're not where you are because of him, or because of her. He's like, it's like a big shadow. You're always able to blame somebody. Mm-hmm. And he goes into the, life is the one thing life is the biggest opponent you'll ever have. Mm-hmm. It'll knock you down and keep you there if you let it. Mm-hmm. But it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, which is the whole notion of that movie. But it's a powerful speech. Mm-hmm. I mean, Stallone is really good at writing that kind of stuff. But I play it for my kids from time to time when they face adversity. I said, look, he says it better than anybody else in this scene.
I'm going to have to go back and check that out.
It's an amazing scene. Mm-hmm. And it's so true. It's absolutely so true. To the people that blame other people, I say, you are responsible for how people make, how you feel. They can't make you feel anything.
The tough part for people is that they don't know how to think differently or believe something other than what they
experienced.
That's right. And the whole idea is that you change your beliefs, you change your thoughts. A belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again. So people will say, well, no, it's a truth. It's a belief, which is a thought you keep thinking over and over again.
Oh.
And my mentor, Dr. Wayne Dyer, said, change your thoughts, change your life. 100%.
Yeah.
100% change your thoughts, change your life. Our words are so powerful, and people do not understand that when they speak, I mean, even just like you said, but I don't know, I think we were talking before we started the podcast here, but you said something about the title used to be focused on what could go wrong or what are the problems.
That was, it's always
problem?
something.
Oh yeah, that's even better. It's always something.
That was from the car business.
Yeah. But think about that. It's always something. Your brain then will scan for what else is going to go wrong or what else is there. I always tell people when they say,
I'm going to push back you. I'm going to challenge you on that.
Okay.
My attitude, I get where you're coming from, but the whole notion of it is that accepting the notion that there's always going to be something. That's just life.
That's true.
It's how you respond to it.
That's right.
And as long as you have, well, hey, I shouldn't be surprised by this. It just happens. This is life. This is why they tell you to fall in love with the marathon, not the sprint and the journey. You know, I don't want to get to the end. Once you realize that the challenge is, I actually retrained my brain to stop thinking of them as problems or challenges rather than as puzzles.
Opportunities.
Absolutely. I get to solve this.
Do you hear what you just did, though? You shifted from problem focus to what's wrong to what could be right. What's the opportunity? So you just were an example. It's not even a challenge. You just were an example of what I was saying, that it's the same subject. But what you're choosing to see in that subject was, what's the opportunity?
Right.
What's the puzzle for me to figure out? And
the whole idea was to bring business owners on and say, okay, what's that one thing you're dealing with? You know, let's talk about it. Let's open it up, unpack it. And one of my giftings still is to see the outside of another business owner's bottle that they're on the inside of. You know, it's tough to see the label when you're on the inside of the bottle. And that was the whole premise for that podcast. And then for branding purposes and attraction of people from California and New York and all the other places, I decided to change it to the Middle Tennessee Business Podcast mostly. But it was called What's Your Problem? And it was cool for a while. I mean, I don't know if the name change really was beneficial, but you know, here we are. Yeah, it was definitely a notion. I experienced my first put it out to the universe type of event in 2016 when my back was against a wall. I had lost my job in March of that year. After the car business and everything, before the car business, I was in radio, my chosen field for a number of years, most of my professional adult life. Never thought my skill set would be relevant ever again, but here we are. Right. You know, producing podcasts for a multitude of different clients. And, you know, in 2016, I mean, got let go. We were planning a camping trip. My wife, or do you want to go on the camping trip? I said, you know, we probably should push it off. And we had a Disney trip planned that May, literally, you know, 2 months later. What about Disney trip? We're going. How are we going to, I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, we're going.
You made a decision.
And damn right I did.
That'll work with everything in your life, by the way.
And
everything.
Happened. And then some.
Yes.
We had, instead of a week in Orlando, we ended up spending 2 weeks in Florida, another week by the beach where the kids were able to have their first beach vacation.
Amazing.
And it was a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Because I was down there for work. So.
Amazing.
Yeah. A job came out of it.
I mean, I'm excited. You know, we get to see each other outside of this podcast, and I'm excited to actually look at your 26 things that you're going to. Am I doing that? Yeah, you are. Okay, I guess I am. Yeah, you are. All right. And I'm going to hold you to it. When does it due? Hey, I only have 14 things so far on my list. It's got to come from a place of joy in your heart before you put it on paper. Yeah. It's got to feel great. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to lose weight. And the feeling behind it is dread. Well, guess what? There's your obstacle. Yeah. So if you, like, for instance, people who, because that's always one for people's resolution, right? Is get as fit as I can be. Well, don't write that down. Write down what fun things that would incorporate, getting fit that you actually would look forward to. I'm going to start pickleball or whatever, and put that on paper. And then what you do is it's already written down. So your brain's going to look for ways to, or actually what ends up happening is you meet somebody and they say, oh yeah, I started a pickleball club. I mean, that's how it works when you say, put it out there in the universe.
The maturation, I guess, of my mind is evident in
mine too, by the way.
Yeah. I've been telling people, I said 2025 was a year of, it was a lot of things that I chose to say that it was a year that really you had to hold on to what you were grateful for. Everything I look forward to in the year, little events that popped up, somehow got dampened. They still happened and they still were fun at the time. But post the event, something would like derail. And it happened probably 2 or 3 different times. I could have focused on that. I'm just merely saying, hey, it did happen. I'm not going to be unrealistic. I mean, these things did happen. But I'm going to look at the fact of like, but I still had a good time. And had those other things not had happened, that things were outside of my control, people making boneheaded decisions that I couldn't control, paying what you say you would pay, what I'm talking about, which spiraled into a whole bunch of other things. I chose instead, I'm like, had those things not have happened, other events would have happened that would have been still more fun. That's the heartbreak in that one particular instance. I don't know if you were around when I did the Huey thing at City Winery.
No.
That was, 3 gigs that we did with Tony's band and stuff like that. I kind of got the notion that I wasn't there going to be their full-time drummer, especially when they were, still looking after I was spending 3 months practicing for this thing. And I was like, okay, well, whatever. It's just, maybe I'll just fill in or something like that. But I manifested that the first time I met him. I said, I'm going to be your drummer.
You created that. So when people are listening, because again, they think it's such a, chic term to use, right? A cool term. Oh, manifest. It's like, again, create. Your thoughts will create whatever it is you are saying. So when you are adamant and clear, get clear on what you want, you make it happen. So like you said, you knew you were going to be the drummer.
Yeah.
You knew it. I could feel the energy shift, by the way, when you say certain things. Versus, when
I looked him square in the eye. I said, I'm going to be your drummer. Because, I that was one of the things in the BNI bio section. They ask you, what's something that would surprise somebody to know about you or that a lot of people don't know? What is this something you want to do? And I said, I've honestly always wanted to be in a tribute band, either a Journey, Bon Jovi, or a Huey Lewis and the News tribute band. And, somebody, a friend of mine, Kevin Michelson, he ran into Tony and found out they were in a tribute band for Huey Lewis. And, I know a guy.
See, there's the resources that I'm saying.
Right.
When you get clear on what you want, the second step is the universe will bring you the people and the resources you need.
Right.
And the third step is you got to be open and willing to receive it.
Oh, don't be surprised when it happens.
Well, expect that it'll happen. You just don't need to know when. That's what people get stuck. When, which they're focusing then on the lack, and the lack is the thing that keeps you from it.
Well, the other aspect of it is I always seem to, I've done that in the past with monetary claims. They never work out.
Because you don't really believe it.
I do. Bitcoin's going to hit $250,000. It's going to happen.
You can't lie to yourself. People think affirmations and, they put it out there. I'm going to manifest this. I believe you've got to find some truth in whatever it is that you're saying, whatever it is you're wanting to create. And if you're going to affirm it, then you need to affirm what you believe about it. So again, back to the easy one about being fit. You don't say, I am, in the best shape of my life if you don't believe it. But if you say, oh, I'm getting stronger and healthier and more fit every day, there's something in your cells that shifts that you start getting healthier every day. I haven't been sick in, I think, almost 14 years, not even through COVID.
That's crazy.
That's because I say my body loves to be well.
Yeah.
And I will never, like if I start getting stuffy or, what do people say? They're like, oh, I'm getting sick. Oh, my throat. I don't ever claim that.
Right.
I say my body loves to be well, and I rest and I do all the things necessary to foster and support my wellness.
I had that happen to me recently with a friend of mine who I went on a test drive with, and he's like, oh man, I'm just feeling it. I've got the fever.
Mm-hmm.
After I'm done with you, I'm going to be going home. And I'm like, well, I feel fine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, but there's always that little voice that's like, you know, as well as I do,
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to feel the effects of this. And it's like, literally, I'm like, a large part of me says no. And eventually I did, and
because that piece of you that resonates with, well, maybe that's the piece that's
the weakness.
active. Yes, that's the weak link. So
but I can't get it just pops in. You know what I mean? It's like in Ghostbusters. Everyone clear your mind. Don't think of anything. And Ray's like, it just popped into my head, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Sometimes you just can't help it. It literally just happens,
Mm-hmm.
And it's, because I remember feeling in that moment, I'm like, I'm not going to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen to me.
But there is a fear in you that maybe I might.
No, I think it's you telling God your plans and him going, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's funny. Sometimes it just happens that way. I mean, that happened to me with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. Coming out of Christmas in 2021, the first week of the year, I believe I got it. I never got diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I had it. I mean, it really knocked me on my butt. I was just lethargic and tired every single day. And what got me out of it was the fact that we got into a fight with one of our former business partners, and that was a whole year of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that refocusing and realignment, I wasn't sick anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Instant.
Interesting.
It was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Our minds are really, really, really powerful to create in ways that, and people talk about this, some religious sectors might fight the law of attraction theories. Sometimes I hear it, with certain people. The reality is everything biblically lines up with it too. All things are possible through Christ who gives me strength, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't say some things. It says all things. So, learning how to discipline. There's my word for the year. By the way, you need to come up with a word for the year, how you want your 26 to be. Come up with a word that encompasses all of it. And I believe my word is blissipline. Disciplined in bliss. Blissiplined.
Like the combination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I thought that's really cool. So disciplining your mind to be really clear, to focus on the things you want to create. Don't spend too much energy and time on the things that don't feel good to you. In alignment with all things being possible, it has to come from disciplining your thoughts.
My business partner has been very good with, I'm very open to suggestion and new things. I don't believe I'm stuck in my ways. There was an old saying in the car business when I worked in it, that when you're green, you grow, when you're ripe, you rot. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be ripe. Mm-hmm. So I even though at my old age of 50, looking at my life, I still want to learn. Mm-hmm. Even if it comes from someone younger than me, because there's still something there that, despite they don't have the age or the laps around the sun that I have, there's still wisdom there. Mm-hmm. There's still failure. There's still experience that leads to wisdom that I could peel off. Mm-hmm. And one thing he always kind of mentioned is that, as a business, we put it into our credo, was that there is no crisis.
Right.
And, you have to believe that, because when these things pop up that seem like crises,
it's opportunities.
Opportunities. Mm-hmm. but it also helps you control the way you respond because you have the fight, flee, or freeze responses.
Flight, fight, or freeze.
Yeah. And I remember back in the day, it was always a fight for me. And it's reading the manuscript of his book that he's been putting together recently. I finished it yesterday, and I brought my thoughts to him this morning. I said, the only thing about the freeze part, I said, what's the parameters of, what does it become perceived as a freeze if you take your time? I said, because whenever these things happen, I do take a beat. I do sit back and go, okay. It happened this morning. I had a client texting me at 6 a.m. about his lights. And, hey, could you call me when you're able? First thought is, okay, what's going on? What's this going to be about? But I didn't let it ruin my morning. Okay, I'll call him when I'm ready,
Well, that's good. So you went from annoyance to self-regulation, which is I'll call him when I'm ready. All of that was you.
Yeah.
So you could have stayed in the annoyance and had a really crappy morning, or you could have done what you did, which is I'll call him when I'm ready. You set the boundaries for yourself and you gave yourself permission to do something different.
Another instance, our friend Lindsay, she comes here and records podcasts and now videos. And if she hears this, she'll laugh that I'm retelling the story. But I think it was about 5 a.m. I got a text from Lindsay. Hey, just, don't need to respond. It's when you get this, just wanted to know where that day we were going to be shooting videos that were different than her podcast. And I had the understanding that we would just have her in front of the screen with the microphone, like it was a podcast, doing these kind of like thought leader videos. And she goes, well, no, that's not what I want to do. Like, well, that was my understanding. Here we are in the day of, now you want me to come up with a studio? Well, what can we use in the house that will work? And I'm like, in my mind, imagining my room, and maybe we could use the bookshelves or maybe have a nice background. And I'm like, the morning of, really? And I'm like, I said, you know what, maybe this is just a challenge. This is just a puzzle. Let's solve it. Let's figure it out. She comes in at 10. It gives me about 2.5 hours. And I came in and just looked around. I went upstairs. I'm like, oh, we could use that room. I said, I'll let you know, we could probably film against the walls. We got a nice couch up there. I get up there and the walls are not this color. I thought they were. For some reason, they're more of a tan. And the couch is a gray blue. And I'm going, well, that's going to clash. And I'm like, well, let me see what kind of backdrops I have. I think I have a black one. So maybe I can repurpose the curtains or whatever. And I actually found an expandable backdrop, photography backdrop that fit perfectly. And I remember getting it because we're supposed to put it on Marketplace to sell it, but just been laying around. By happenstance, I find it and I'm like, oh, this will work fine. I get it all set up, do the lighting, set everything up. She comes in, she goes, you were annoyed with me this morning. I'm like, Lindsay, yeah, for about 2 seconds, I was like,
panicked. Yeah.
I said, but come see what I did. And she looks at it, she looks at me, she goes, you're welcome. I'm like, whatever.
I love my Lindsay. Yeah, that's a perfect example. And this for anybody listening, when you come across a situation that does not feel good, pause and choose to pivot. Pause and choose to pivot. People don't pause. They just grab the thing that happened and then they get what's called momentum going.
Yeah.
And then whichever direction you're focused is where the momentum is going to go. So you could have just spiraled and melted down and fallen apart and you pivot. You paused, you pivot.
How can I choose to be the hero?
That's amazing. That's a great question.
That's the way, my father, 2 things that he told us when we were young was, you're enabled in the business that we're in to be the hero to the clients. We were in a blue collar family. When my brother and I learned the trade, I mostly learned the trade because college didn't work out. And I saw myself as less than, because we were working in Westchester County, New York, very affluent. Greenwich, Connecticut was right over the border. And white collar people quite literally look down their nose at you. especially if you were coming in with tools on.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, you need to reframe that in your mind that you're there to fix something they can't.
Yeah.
You need to be their hero. Does your garage door sound like this? If it does, it's screaming for help. Call Incredible Doors, 931-348-DOOR. We're making garage doors in Murray and Williamson counties work better and sound better. We just make them incredible again. Go to IncredibleDoors.com or call 931-348-DOOR. Follow us on Facebook for specials on maintenance visits, keypads, and other items. 931-348-DOOR. IncredibleDoors.com.
You shifted to believe.
Not then, but
right.
I do now.
So, but think about that. And again, for anyone who's listening, the belief that's not serving you, that doesn't feel good, pause and think, how could you think about it? How could you believe about it differently?
Yeah.
It reminds me of something I just recently, I'm always every day into something growth oriented. Every day, no exaggeration.
Kaizen.
So there's an experiment that I think Harvard did where they put scars on people's face, and they were told that they were going to go out. They put them on half of the people and the other half they didn't. And they told them they were going to go out into the crowd, and they were asked to just observe how people reacted to them. So what they didn't know is that before the people with scars, well, first of all, they looked in the mirror and they saw, oh my gosh, it's hideous. It's like grotesque. Like they really made it very realistic and they looked pretty bad. So those people were told, go out and observe, how people react to you and how they respond to you. So they believed they looked hideous. And what they didn't know is before they sent them out, they put powder on them to cover up the scar so you could not see any of it. But when they came back and reported how people reacted to them, how do you guess that they thought people reacted to them?
That they were reacting to the scars.
That's right. How ugly and grotesque they were. They said people were looking at them, scowling, and you were, looking down upon them. So how you believe about a situation is what ends up becoming your reality.
There were things told to me, though, you wouldn't believe.
Well, I bet they were. And again, that's so one thing that you mentioned is that life happens.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it does. Contrast, which is the unwanted stuff, will always show up.
Oh, yeah.
And contrast is a way to look at it instead of like horrible, horrific things. It's contrast. It's the opposite of what you want. So when that stuff does show up, if you pause and you say, okay, I don't like this, but what do I like? What do I want from that exact situation? If you take every situation that does not feel good for you and you pause and you say, okay, this is what I don't like about it. What do I want, or what would I like instead? Something will pop into your mind, but what people say is, well, that's not reality. And so they stop. But if you pause and you pivot and you say, this is what I want, and you understand that that's just as possible as the things that are unwanted, then you would really be careful about where you place your energy and where you place your focus. You'd be really sensitive about what you allow yourself to consume, who you allow yourself to hang out with, what business partners you allow in your world. And when you get one, for instance, a business partner maybe that is really difficult, well, what is that creating? It's creating something you do want. An amazing business partner who is, ethical and integrous and kind and generous. And, so in the contrast, what you don't want, the things you do want is born.
Right.
So it's a matter of you deciding and taking, your focus off of, I don't want this, but instead of going, this is terrible, and you're focused over here, what do I want over here? And then you get pointed in the direction, and then your opportunities start opening up to you. It is the way it works. It's so simple. I tell people, I joke and say, yeah, I have 3 degrees. two licenses, and been doing this for 28 years. And it boils down to, do I want this? Do I not want this? Do I like this? Do I not like this? Where am I focusing? Do I focus on what's not wanted or what is wanted? That's really the foundation, the crux of how simple it is. And the reason why it's so difficult for people to change is because of habit of their personality. You know, Joe Dispenza says your personality is your personal reality. So when you, again, go back to changing your thoughts and changing the things that you think, you can change your personality, which changes then your personal reality.
You see a lot of people on social media, gurus, influencers that are espousing similar beliefs, but without the chutzpah.
Without the credentials or the background or the knowledge. Yes, a lot of that. Mm-hmm.
And they're passing it off like they thought of it.
Oh, yeah.
That drives me nuts.
But you know what? Everything that I teach, everything that the leaders teach that I follow, there's a portion of it that goes way, way, way back. I mean, back all the way to the beginning of time. There's certain principles that are truth, tried and true truth.
Yeah.
And so I don't think anybody can really lay claim now to something brand new.
I've seen it tried.
A
lot of things that I've heard elsewhere, and they attribute themselves.
Interesting. Yeah.
Actually, there was one. People will quite often not remember what you say, but they'll remember how they made you feel.
Yes.
Remember who said that?
Not originally, no.
Maya Angelou.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I actually saw that in an email signature once. And the sender actually quoted, it made it their own. Like I said that. They quoted themselves, first of all, in their own email signature.
Wow.
And it was a quote that they had no business. It's a famous quote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone's heard it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you came up with that? Really?
Interesting. Well,
The reason why I bring that up is because in the beginning I mentioned a lot of business owners out there. There's a lot of comparison. Whether it should or shouldn't happen, it happens. On social media, everybody sees the veneer, the polished aspect of things, and people in front of planes and cars and parties and stuff like that, and power couples and so on and so forth. I want to say that's, a microscopic portion of the business community. And if a lot of people out there are feeling, business owners and professionals are feeling somewhat inadequate, we need to speak to them, that you're not alone.
Not alone at all.
Right.
I mean, it's part of the process. It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
And if you think that it has to be just this shiny, polished, perfect, package, then you're going to miss actually all the opportunities of the substance of the human and of the business. I think that when you're real and true and you feel good about who you are, then all that other external stuff is sort of icing on your cake. It's not what you present with as, this is who I am.
Right.
I tell people, oh my gosh, I'm very far from perfect. Don't look to me for any of that. Like if something, like I want to always in my life now focus on real, truth, genuine, and that is imperfect. And so business owners who maybe are struggling or feel alone, that is part of the process of defining not only who you are, but what you want your business to become. And again, it does go back to the person. That's why I love, helping business owners too. I have a lot of business owners in my practice that come in who are very successful, by the way. There's a lot of myth to therapy that you have to be really broken, quote unquote, or dysfunctional. And that's not the case at all. I work on expanding and elevating life to the next level. So I have a lot of successful people who come in who just are fine tuning every month their communication and their marriage and whatnot. But it does start with the person looking to what it is they want for themselves and their business, and then what values they're going to really hone in on and develop and discipline themselves to in order to deal with all the things that you're mentioning, the lost and lonely and, feeling fragmented.
Right.
It has overwhelmed. Right. And think about what overwhelmed is. It means there's so many opportunities and choices. Well, slow down, meditate, which means just quiet your mind. Come back to self. Come back to self. Check out. Just notice what goes on in that quietness. Even if you said, we're going to have some goals for you this year.
Well, I mean, the thing for me is you mentioned earlier, what is it that elicits joy? Mm-hmm. And a lot of it has been getting back to my musical background, playing the drums, and playing with other people. Mm-hmm. And, that's one of the things I kind of put out there. But I also want to see the country in a motor coach. Mm-hmm. I also want to do something else that completely slipped my mind. But there's a third thing there that I've always, I have a lot of things that I'd love to do. It's just how.
That's the part you don't really have to hone in on just yet.
Yeah.
You have to get really clear on what the feeling is that you do want to elicit and why that's important to you.
Yeah.
And live in that first. You can't attract what you lack, what you think you lack. So let's go to a real general thing about abundance. People think, I want to be abundant, or I want this. Well, hello, look where you live. You have a roof over your head. You're abundant.
That's what I mean is in 2025 for me, it was a year of gratitude. Concentrate on the things you have.
Listen, if anybody wants to shift anything, then begin a practice of sitting 5 minutes feeling what you're really grateful for. You know how simple that sounds? And you know how many people will do it? Very few. It's
a habit that you got to do, but it's tough to develop. I started doing that too with getting outside first thing in the morning and doing the Tony Robbins threes. I think it was 3 minutes of gratitude, 3 minutes of thoughts and prayers, and 3 minutes of, what am I going to do today? And mapping out your day.
So for people who want to change their life and improve every aspect of it, start simple. It's free. You sit and you feel. You don't just write. You feel what you're genuinely heartfelt, grateful for. That will change your entire life. Then you can shift to what you want for your day. I have a board. I have many whiteboards, but one board has words that I love that feel good to me, that I sit at my desk and I can see those words, ease and love and connection, and prosperity and joy and fun. And so if I'm ever feeling a little bit off or out of alignment, what I'll do is sift and sort my own brain to be like, well, wait, what is it that I really want to experience today? Because I get to be the creator of that. And then I can write those words down. Because again, what we discipline ourselves to focus on is what we end up experiencing. So again, back to contrast will come up, life will happen. Absolutely. And you have the choice. Where are you going to give your attention and energy? Where? To what? So the argument that people make, they argue for their limitations. They argue for why they should be feeling so bad. And when you do that, you just create more pool of toxic, poisonous, non-helpful thinking.
It's what they're marinating their mind in. Yeah.
But they'll say, well, it's realistic, but it's reality. Yeah. Well, what's another aspect of that reality that could be true? And when you actually spend just a few minutes doing that, you will change everything. It's really not rocket science. It's the art of feeling empowered and strong and good and happy, like really genuinely satisfied. It does not require a ton of money. It doesn't require anything other than you sitting down and choosing to think about these things that I'm talking about.
When you have people that are chemically
imbalanced.
Yeah, and you get the depressive states.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, when even though I knew I'm not getting sick, a little small little voice is like, yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Mm-hmm.
I always analyze if I hear a voice in my head, I listen to the pronouns it uses.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a you, it's coming from external.
Mm-hmm.
If it's I, it's me. I really do pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
I told my wife that too. Told my kids that, because my kids are in an age right now where they're marinating their minds in all the headlines of the world right now.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to feel important because they know what they perceive as current events and what are their opinions and thoughts on them. As somewhat misdirected and ill-advised and immature as they are, that's a minefield, dealing with that.
I bet.
There's a faith I have that, God, I got around to you. Took me, half my life, but it happened. I always knew that it would happen. And that's typically where I start with them. I'm like, guys, I know exactly where you're coming from. I once felt the same way. But if you have any sort of, respect or reverence for my, the way I think and my intelligence, you got to ask yourself at some point, what changed my mind? There's a reckoning there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the things I kind of deal with. But at the same time, I just have a good faith about it. Things will work out the way they should.
That's a belief, right?
It is.
Things are always working out for me. That's a phrase that I say all the time. And I encourage people who really understand the things that I teach in my life and in my practice. When it doesn't look like it's working out for you, it's working out for you. And if you have that belief that, even when it seems like it's not working out for me, it's working out for me, then something will shift. Again, it's like we lay out the evidence based on what we're thinking. The evidence will start accumulating based on what we're thinking. So if you think, even in this really tough, awful, terrible situation, things are working out for me, your brain automatically goes to, how's it working out for me? If you give yourself permission to really think that thought, because most people override it and shut it down with, no, it's not. Look, here's all the evidence. Look at this happened today, but that's reality. It really happened. Yes, it did. And where are you going to shift your focus?
You think there's a trapping though when it comes to getting back to gratitude? I was thinking about all the last 2 or so years and how it's been somewhat of a challenging financial season. And we've been able to weather it by chipping away at our savings. Now you can choose to look at that of saying, oh, we once had this.
Right.
Now we're down to
look
this.
Look at how much I'm lacking. Then you're going to lack more.
But I literally, have to say, am I really complaining about
that you had a savings to pull from and live from? Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, I said, I know better than most. I shouldn't be freaking out about what I don't have and how am I going to make ends meet. I have the power to change that. I mean, it's just a little bit, biggest problem for me is, a lot of my talents lie in obviously podcast production for a myriad of people and doing my own podcast, voiceover, getting that back online. But I haven't made the decision that AI is taking that over. There's a part of me that believes that my best years in voiceover are yet to come.
There you go. That's
because even with AI being a factor, I've always believed that I'm going to be very wealthy at some point. It's like, okay, but clock's ticking.
Yeah. See, that's the part you got to clean up. Okay. The clock's ticking.
Right.
You are wealthy now, Jim.
That's the way to look at it. I get that.
Yeah.
But is that a trapping because the wealth isn't in the form that you thought it would be?
You get to create the form that it will be. You get to decide and move towards that by what you truly desire.
Yeah.
And so, it's about thinking, what is that number that, like, let's say you have a number, X, and you're not quite there. Well, what is X going to bring you? And just go ahead and imagine, you don't have to say a number, but what will that number bring you? That financial, you said I'm going to be wealthy one day. What is that?
What does that look like? Mm-hmm. What's the number?
Well, it doesn't matter the number, but what feeling would that number bring you?
Comfort, security, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
So
a lot of those things,
security.
A lot of those things I believe will, like right now, to just make sure we have food and a roof over our heads and things of that nature, being able to go to and fro. Mm-hmm. When you don't have to worry about those, you can apply your resources to other areas you want to apply them in. And I just feel like my entire life, and I had this conversation, the car business was such an enlightening business. I kid you not. I had the similar conversation with a woman, a customer of mine. We had a delightful time. She and her husband bought 2 cars from me when I was a Mercedes. And we were sitting there. She was getting some other work done a couple of days later, and she sat in my office and we were talking. And I just eviscerated myself and started data dumping. And I got out of radio into the car business, 2 businesses that I felt like were failing and crashing into a mountain. And I'm like, why do I keep on picking these businesses that are just failing? Car business wasn't failing. It was my perception. And I said, I'm going to be 40 and I got nothing in the bank to show for it. Nothing. Back when I was 18, you tell yourself, oh, by the time I'm 40, I'm going to have this and this. And none of that was remotely true. Mm-hmm. And she just sat there and listened to me. And she goes, can I say something? I said, of course. You are so hard on yourself. And I was like a shot to the gut. I was going, okay. Why do you say that? Didn't you just tell me that you were able to keep your wife at home with your kids? Yeah. She goes, you may not have money in the bank, but you have that.
Focus is everything.
But it changed my perspective. I'm like, you're absolutely right. Thank you. I'll never forget this conversation. And here I am 13 years later.
Having the same conversation.
Telling that story of that conversation.
But
a lot of that
is the
is
same conversation, really.
Is.
Perspective is everything.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited for you that I get to, see you outside of this at BNI, and I'm kind of excited to watch what you'll choose to do and how you do 26, because you said 25 was pretty rough. And I'll definitely be here to hold you accountable.
Thank you. I appreciate that. 25 was rough, not because I don't think we concentrate on the roughness. We just acknowledged of the things that happened. And we were like, one of the other big events that we were looking forward that got damaged was a concert we went to with my brother and his fiance up in September. Got all the special treatment with a friend of mine who plays in the band and everything. It was a lot of fun, did the backstage thing. But the night was dampened because we got kicked out. And nothing that we did. It was just one of the managers or whoever just had a freaking burr up his ass and out. Okay, and it kind of dominated the night. I'm like, and I kept on having to remind myself and others that were there. I said, I get that this happened and we're all upset about it. I said, but let's not forget everything that happened before it. We had a good time. This is a lot of fun. And I said, that's what I'm going to choose to remember. I said, because I'm kind of not surprised at the notion that this happened, because yet it's another thing that it just happened,
You're just making a case for what I'm sharing. You realize that, right? Because if you have a vibration, an active thought, we'll just say, I'm not surprised that it's going to happen because look, it always happens. What else, like that has to be cleaned up if you don't want those things somewhere, in your life to just keep popping up.
Yeah. You got ladybugs in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. Pay attention to.
What is the process then? Okay. Big event coming up. It's going to go great. Nothing is going to happen. Little small voice. Well, we know what happened the last time. Shut up.
Yeah. So that's the part about lying to yourself that I said can't happen. You have to find some truth. It's hard for people because they're so driven by habit of thought that's old, like you said, but there's that little voice.
Yeah.
That little voice needs some soothing and some attention. And so you would think about, well, how do you want it to go? And you have to be easy about the way you think about it. So you would just literally say, how do I want this to go? I did this before I came here. How do I want this to go? I want it to be connected. I want to give value. I want to have fun.
Are those things happening?
Yes.
Good.
Exactly. But the thing is, anytime I do television or podcasts or any of that, there's a part of me that initially gets nervous.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, wait, what do I want this to be about? Do I want to be stressed out and irritated because I'm nervous, or do I actually want to enjoy the process? And so then I do the work mentally to get myself into a place of how I want it to go. So you would ask yourself, no, genuinely, how do I want this evening to go when I go to this concert? Yes, all these things happened before, but now I understand the way the laws of the universe work, that if I focus on certain things going wrong, then I will see evidence of it. So what would I just enjoy? And it has to be real. Can't say it's going to be perfect. Well, if something did come up, how do I want to respond to it?
Right.
I want to actually find the joy in it still. I want to actually find, whoever that person is who's, who I come across, make a connection. Like you can think of things in a different way. We tried.
I mean, he was not at a moment, but, having the maturity of thought,
mm-hmm.
knowing that, look, at some point, this guy's going to wake up and kick himself. I would.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be frankly embarrassed if I conducted myself that way.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, guests in your house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know you from Adam. And you choose to behave like that on a perceived slight instead of talking it through. And maybe it was just a misunderstanding
mm-hmm.
of whatever may or may not have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's not on me, man. That's on you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel badly. And that was literally my attitude about it. I'm like, I choose to feel badly for you because you've got to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's your problem, not mine.
And then through that experience, you can decide who you want to be and how you want to behave. And then you create your life based on that.
I haven't invited him. I said, told my buddy, I said, give him my number. I'm more than happy to talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that certain recent events may be playing into this, external factors. I get it. I said, but I'm happy to, kind of, yes, you know how I am.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing other people and maybe putting things in perspective for them, not making them feel badly about what they
mm-hmm.
did or what happened. But man, as a human being, what's going on with you, man?
Mm-hmm.
Why, this isn't because of what you thought we did. This is coming from something else, somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to take on that weight because this has nothing to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
This is everything to do with you.
Not taking things personally.
And maybe somebody who you don't know in your life who's just completely unbiased. So there's power to just asking, man, how are you?
Right.
And meaning it.
Mm-hmm.
We did that in the car business.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just didn't know how to follow up with customers they haven't talked to in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the general manager, I'll never forget it. What are we supposed to say to him? And he looked at all of us. He goes, sup. I remember the look on his face and everything. I'm going, it really is that easy. Just
mm-hmm.
be genuinely interested in their life. Hey, I know I sell cars and I have a biased interest to try and get your money from you and stuff like that and make a business transaction. But aside from all that, how are you? I really want to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a salutation.
Right.
And
that's based on, again, going back to a perspective or a belief.
Yeah.
and not thinking about what are they going to think of me? What am I going to get from this? But just what do I want from this? And you thought genuine connection, really genuinely connecting to care. And that's what you did. And then that's how you can shift.
I wanted to know that guy was going to be okay.
Yeah.
I really did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, even though our evening got ruined,
mm-hmm.
my concern was like, you know, even with other people in the party that we were with who were very upset about it, I said, listen, this has nothing to do with us.
Right.
You know, let's not act like we caused it. This is on him. And I said, as human beings, I think we need to be more in tune with that. What's going on in this guy's life
mm-hmm.
to make him act like that?
It would be so nice if everybody took a moment to just care.
Yeah.
And have compassion. I actually, you know, I love what I do because when people come in, they know that I care. They're not just, okay, here we go for 60 minutes. They actually know I really invest in who they are and how they're doing and their well-being. And that's that's huge when it comes to.
It's got to be exhausting.
It's not exhausting. Everybody says that. How can you listen to this? And it's like, again, remember what I do. A lot of therapists might focus on all the illness and what's wrong. I get to focus on watching people because we do the things necessary to soar in their lives. Who gets to do that? Who gets to help people who feel like there's no way out, find a way, and then become the things and the way that they want to be? That is like the coolest, most honored. Like I feel so honored and humble to be able to be in people's most intimate worlds. They share every bit of what happens behind closed doors. And, you know, most people are afraid to do that because they think, oh, I can never say that to anybody. I can never tell anybody that. But that's exactly the shame or the guilt that keeps people stuck. But when they work with me, they understand, wow, okay, I'm okay. This is part of life. And now I can just do this thing in my life to make my life better. And now my marriage is better. Now my career is better. Now my life is better. What could be better than that? And so I get to do that. It's not exhausting at all.
Well, you're framing it right just now. I get to do that.
Yes.
It's a get to, not a have to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love what I do. And I don't work with people who come in, by the way, who want to stay a victim. I'm pretty expensive, actually. So I get to work with people who want, you could tell when you put your money where your mouth is, you're interested and committed to changing. And so that's part of it.
Yeah, I was going to say that people have to be ready to receive.
Oh, yeah. And that's part of, you know, just as a business owner too. Not that I don't work with people who, for instance, I scholarship some people. I work with people. It's not just always, you know, what I charge, but my time is valuable too, right?
Of course.
So if somebody really wants the tools and skills, they're going to commit to doing what's necessary. And then I have the tools for them. Right. Seriously, it's like a great combination of people really becoming emotionally free through the process. And I don't work with people who are not committed.
Right.
And that's part of the what's that called? The screening.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got coming up, Dilyse, to you guys we want to talk about?
I have some retreats coming up this year. I have both individual retreats quarterly out at our wellness center property. I've got online courses available for people who are ready to kind of get their toes wet and see what change could be all about. I do my private practice where people could work one-on-one with me. And this year, I'm hoping to take people on a destination retreat to either Kauai or I haven't quite nailed it down yet, but I'm feeling Kauai.
Mm.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Hawaii.
Okay.
Out there in the
Never
islands. Yeah, it's a more secluded place over in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Called Kauai. It's its own little island.
Well, that's interesting. Where can people find and follow you? Where can they hear your podcast?
My website, DilyseDiaz.com, DILYSEDIAZ.com, which, by the way, is not my married name, but it's my business name. I just kept it, even though my name is Dilyse Diaz Smilik. So, DilyseDiaz.com. I'm on social media. Also, everything that I do on social media is about helping people find little nuggets of empowerment.
And where can people, is your podcast hosted here?
No, I haven't started my own podcast yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I know.
Is that part of your word for 20? Is that the 26 words podcast?
It actually is. So we'll probably be talking. It is. There's so many times people have been, Dilyse, you need to have a podcast.
You really do. I mean, it's marketing machines, man. They're content machines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so many things can come out. How many different clips can come out of this conversation right now?
Right.
You know?
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, life is meant to be fun. And honestly, anybody who wants to help their marriage just clean up some communication or misunderstandings, I'd be happy to speak with people. And you can reach out anytime, and I'm happy to have a conversation, an initial conversation. I always do a complimentary phone consultation with people to see where I could point them in the direction. And anybody who's listening to this podcast, if they reach out to me and they say mostly Middle Tennessee business podcast, I'll send them a complimentary masterclass that I did
there you go.
With you that you helped edit.
Right on. We got to do more of those too.
I would love to. Yeah.
Well, there you go. DilyseDiaz.com. As usual, all the information will be down in the description of this particular episode, whether you're watching it or listening to it. Go take a look. It'll be right there. And you can reach out and schedule it says on the website, a free consultation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you mention the podcast that you heard it here, you get even more.
Masterclass.
The masterclass.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, everything else is there. If you really got something out of this, you want to share it with somebody, please do so. It's at MMTBP.com, which is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast.com, which is, you could put that in too, but it's really long. That's why I truncated it down to MMTBP.com. You'll also be able to find a link there if you want to be a guest. Fill out the form. It'll let us know, and we'll reach out and see if it's a fit. Dilyse.
Amazing.
We recorded this a week between Christmas and New Year's. What an awesome conversation. I wish you a very happy New Year. And we'll be seeing you all next year as well.
That's right. Happy New Year to everybody listening. And I hope they really take the time to come up with 26 things they want to create in 2026, along with their word for the year.
Well, there you go, guys. You got your homework. Go get to it.